Okay, let's just jump right into this, because today we are tackling a tension that I know absolutely every developer out there has felt at some point. You know the feeling, right? You've just built this massive, intricate mental house of cards for your code base, and then one single ping knocks the whole thing down. We're looking at that daily struggle to maintain deep focus while you're wrangling these complex automated systems. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a highly targeted, but honestly incredibly impactful update. We're talking about Claude Code version 2.1.198. We're going to see exactly how Anthropic is engineering a way for developers to get the signal without the noise. Essentially, we're giving you a clear, engaging overview of what's new in Claude Code, specifically how they bridge the gap with an improved focus mode and better subagent integration. Let's get into it. So I want you to really think about this for a second. Are your productivity tools actually distracting you? It's kind of a universal pain point. You finally get into that perfect flow state, your mental model of the code base is fully built out in your head, you are completely in the zone, and then, bam, a notification pops up. And then another one right behind it. Suddenly, you're context switching. Notification fatigue is totally real, and it actively disrupts the exact productivity these advanced tools are supposed to be enhancing. Every single one of those interruptions costs you precious time and mental energy to recover from. Now, to understand how we actually solve this, let's make sure we're on the exact same page about the foundation here. The really operative word for us today is agentic. See, Claude Code isn't just some simple autocomplete engine. It's Anthropic's agentic coding tool. It actively runs tasks, executes commands directly in your terminal, and most importantly for our explainer today, it spins up delegated processes right there while you work. It's essentially like having this tireless code developer sitting right next to you, handling all the heavy lifting so you can just focus on the high-level architecture.
And that brings us directly to these delegated processes, which are known as subagents. You can really think of subagents as your invisible helpers, just working quietly behind the scenes. When you give Claude Code a massive, complex task, like refactoring an entire module or hunting down some incredibly cryptic bug, it doesn't just try to tackle it all at once. It breaks it down. It intelligently spins up these subagents to handle specific, bite-sized parts of the larger job, right there in the background.
But hey, nobody wants a coworker who constantly taps them on the shoulder every 5 seconds to say, hey, I'm doing the thing, right? So Claude Code has focus mode. Focus mode is exactly what it sounds like. It's a setting designed specifically to reduce those interruptions. It acts like a shield, keeping distractions to an absolute minimum so you can protect your concentration, rather than just staring at a nonstop stream of status updates endlessly scrolling up your terminal window.
All right, Section 1, the distraction dilemma. Let's look at multi-agent workflows.
So here is the crucial point, and it's a bit of a paradox. You have these incredibly powerful multi-agent workflows happening, and focus mode is supposed to help you stay in the zone while they execute. But before this recent update, focus mode was actually kind of working against itself. How? Well, it created this massive dilemma. Either the subagent activity was completely invisible, meaning you had absolutely no idea what your helpers were actually doing, or you were just getting spammed with a towering pile of background notifications. You needed transparency to trust the tool, obviously, but you also desperately needed peace and quiet to just do your own work.
Which leads us to Update 1, Visible Subagents.
Let's actually break down the anatomy of what's called a turn to see how this system operates in practice. A turn is basically just a discrete unit of work in Claude Code. Step 1, the turn triggers based on your command. Step 2, to get that complex job done, Claude Code launches its subagents. And then Step 3, the work completes. Now in the past, that middle step, the subagents launching, exploring, doing their thing, was essentially a total black box if you had focus mode turned on. You knew something was happening out there, but the specific details were completely hidden away from you.
Let's compare that directly. Before version 2.1.198, subagents did their work without showing up clearly in focus mode's view. They were just too invisible, which left you guessing about their progress or what logical paths they were even taking. But now, subagents appear scoped specifically to that turn's activity summary. You don't have to go digging through raw terminal logs anymore or disable your focus entirely just to figure out what happened behind the scenes. The context is perfectly, neatly contained. And honestly, the direct application for you as a developer here is huge. You can now review exactly what subagent work took place without ever having to disable focus mode. You keep your shield up, your flow state is rigidly protected, but the information is right there, neatly organized and scoped to the specific turn that triggered it. It's such an incredible feeling to realize you finally have full transparency without all the distraction.
Moving on to Update 2,
silenced noise.
Now, this part directly addresses notification volume, which, let's be real, is the absolute fastest way to ruin a good coding session. Before this update, when you had multiple background tasks running, they would complete one by one. Ping, ping, ping. They'd surface as separate notifications, just stacking up, taking over your entire screen and creating this massive visual clutter that completely derails your train of thought. It was overwhelming. But after the update, everything just breathes. It slows down. Completed background notifications now fold elegantly into a single count.
Literally just one. Imagine the visceral relief of this. Instead of a cascading, messy clutter of 5 or 10 or 20 separate alerts jarring you completely out of your workflow, you just look over and see a single count. It quietly tells you exactly how many background tasks just finished. It is calm, it's collected, and it actually respects your mental space.
Which brings us right to the core philosophy of this entire update. Taken straight from the changelog itself, you get the signal without the noise. You still get the absolutely critical information, right? That's the signal, telling you that your tasks are done and ready for review. But the anxiety-inducing visual clutter, the noise, is completely gone. This drastically reduces your cognitive load, which allows you to dedicate your mental energy to solving actual problems instead of managing pop-ups.
All right, Section 4, the multi-agent workflow win. So multi-agent workflows are only going to become more and more common as we tackle increasingly complex coding tasks. This 2.1.198 alignment makes that future actually usable. It stops notifications from piling up and entirely eliminates that visual clutter. But crucially, it doesn't do it by keeping you in the dark. It makes subagent activity perfectly visible exactly when you need it. The end result? It keeps you firmly in the zone while providing a clean, complete record of everything Claude Code actually did. It finally makes focus mode work exactly the way it was always meant to, perfectly bridging that gap between agent autonomy and developer oversight. Now, if you want to dig into the exact nitty-gritty mechanics of these subagents, or honestly, if you just want to stay up to date on how agentic coding is continuously evolving, you should definitely check out the full manual and ongoing release coverage over at cloudmaster.net. It's just a totally incredible resource for truly mastering this stuff and keeping your toolset sharp. So I want to leave you with this thought today. We are entering an era where you are essentially managing entire teams of subagents directly from your terminal. So as multi-agent workflows handle more and more of the complex, tedious tasks, what are you going to build with your newfound focus? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.